Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Stretford Paddock. I am Adam McCullough. He is Alex. We are back for the Manchester United vs Istanbul Başakşehir here. Preview Champions League football does return, and after Manchester United lost away in Turkey, it's important that Manchester United get a victory in this game because obviously dropping points with RB Leipzig and PSG still to come isn't an ideal situation, and you have to be winning your home game. So me and Al are going to be discussing everything about that game. We'll be looking at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference and some of those quotes that have come from that. We'll be talking Edinson Cavani, Anthony Martial, who you think should be starting through the middle, and we'll be looking at obviously our predicted 11s, the opposition, and some score predictions as well. Keep your comments coming in. We know we're going out live at this moment in time. Thank you to those people that have watched us or are watching us live. Keep your comments coming in the live chat. And if you're not watching us live because you're watching us after we have been live, then thank you for tuning in. There's always thousands of you that do. Get your comments in the comments below as we're going through this show. Alex, wagwan, brother.
All right, mate.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah,
how about you?
Okay. It was a bit of a bad mood in the office after the game, even though we won on Sunday, wasn't it? It was like
that was because Steve was here, though.
Yeah, I know. It's always better when he's not here.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a bit of a bad mood, even though we won, and the performance kind of
did we overreact?
I don't know
to that.
I'm unsure with it because there's a lot of comments I saw saying, it's a win, we can't be negative about that. But the performance, it was a really poor performance against a really poor West Brom team. And now people kind of brought, they drew 3-3 with Chelsea and Spurs needed a last minute winner. But look, United had a strong team out at the weekend, and we didn't really threaten them the way we should have done. I think we should have turned them over easily. And I don't know. I think that the thing is with that is if it's a once in a 5 or 6 game performance where you scrape a win, you go, it's a scrappy win, you can't accept that. But it's been a lot of that this season, and I think that performances need to be better. So I think that as United fans, as everyone watching United, you need to be demanding more from that Man United team.
I think that's true. I think there was one thing that made me, obviously I was disappointed by the game. Yeah. I was disappointed by the performance. I wanted to see more goals. But you kind of think at the same time how much of that is them returning from international break, all that kind of thing. So you kind of already have that in the back of your mind when you're coming into the fixture. But the performance had to be better. We said it before the game. Not only was the result important, the performance was important. Now, last time out against Istanbul Başakşehir, we saw possibly the worst performance of Manchester United's season so far. Yeah. And possibly since that 4-0 defeat at Goodison Park under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his first couple of months as Manchester United manager. Why do you think that performance was so bad in Istanbul? And how do we prevent that in this game?
I don't know, because the big thing about this season so far was that we had struggled in the Premier League, but that Champions League form, those 2 big wins in that, were kind of bringing our season along. And I think if you'd have won that Istanbul game, even if it had been more like the West Brom game where you kind of scrape her when you got through, 9 points, you kind of put the Champions League to the back of your mind then. You only know that you're probably going to need a point really to go through from there. But it was just poor overall. And it was the way we conceded the goals where it was just very, very, very simple mistakes, where it was just, counter-attacking goals where United, didn't leave a man back and didn't recover against, again, not a good team really with Istanbul. They have a few good players, but nothing too special. So that was really frustrating. They bounced back well against Everton with a good win, United. But then the performance dropped off again, they're the worrying things about this team. Or, we can't seem to get a good run together. We just seem to go in spits and spurts. We don't really get a run of performances together. And it's maybe not even a run of results, it's a run of performances. We never go 5 games where you go, fucking hell, we look really good in 5 games back to back. It seems to be, we'll do 2 good games, performance drop off, we may scrape the win, but it's never consistent in the performances.
And that's obviously a problem. And not only with the play, you need consistency, not just from your manager, from the players, from everybody. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had his press conference. He was asked many different things. He was asked about injuries and injured players. Jesse Lingard has to self-isolate because he's come into contact with someone who has coronavirus. Paul Pogba is back in training. Whether it comes too early for him or not remains to be seen. He was also asked about Anthony Martial, and that's something we're going to talk about now. Not more so about Edinson Cavani, but we'll talk about Anthony Martial now. quotes from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He was asked about Anthony Martial not scoring in a few games in the league, because we know he scored 2 goals in the Champions League this season. He said, when asked about Martial, he said he did well last season. He's taken big strides, but then again, he hasn't had a pre-season as normal. He's lost 3 games through suspension. He's lost a lot of football, but he did score against Başakşehir last time out, and he's not too worried by Anthony Martial's form. Now, are you worried by his form? Obviously, it's become a running joke on here. I'm president of Martial FC, but at the same time, after the game on the weekend, I said maybe putting Cavani through the middle will be a little bit of a kick up the arse that he needs to get going again. How are you looking at this situation?
Yeah, I think that maybe, I think in the same time, I think Rashford's not had the best of forms either. I think this hat-trick kind of sort of painted over the fact that both of them haven't been scoring too many goals consistently. I think the hat-trick has kind of bumped up Marcus's stats for this season and made him, I think we'd be talking about them both if he hadn't scored in that game. I think it'd been the same kind of thing. And I think Martial maybe needs a bit of a break on him, because maybe put him out to the left for a bit, maybe Cavani, maybe give him a kick. But also, Ollie mentioned about the suspension. I think that is a massive thing. I think that people say he's not scored a lot this season. Well, he missed 3 games in the Premier League.
4 really, because it was very early in that Spurs game he got sent off. And in that game, he won the penalty. And then you've got the Newcastle game where United played some really good football. You fancy if Martial plays in that game for him to get a goal. And I think that it has been a little bit harsh on Martial, because he did score against Istanbul in the last game. He scored the penalty against RB Leipzig. I don't think it's been the worst start to the season for him. I think it's just with that suspension, it's kind of magnified things. The big thing about Martial, and I think that's been better this season, is that Martial 2 or 3 seasons ago, when he didn't score, he looked lost in the game. You kind of think, where was Anthony Martial? But now I think he does get involved more. I think that even at the weekend, he didn't get a goal, but I think he still looked sharp. There were still bits about him that you thought he's dropping in, he's getting the ball. He looks confident still on the ball. He may not be taking the chances, but he's still willing to try things. I thought that against Everton.
Yeah,
I wasn't bothered about his performance, because you look at the build up to both goals. He had a big say in that, and I think he kind of knits that front line together.
Yeah.
The West Brom game, I wasn't pleased with, because I thought he stopped doing the things that he's become very good at over the last 18 months. Working hard, working in between the lines, looking to sniff out chances. Like, you could tell his frustration was getting to him. And I think as a number 9, you have to expect that there's going to be times where you don't score goals. Don't let that ruin your performance. I mean, Wayne Rooney used to have it. He used to go 10 games without scoring, then he'd score 110 games. Like, he used to go through weird spells like that. Now, I think Anthony Martial has been more consistent in performance than people give him credit for. And last season, he was incredibly consistent. Yeah. Apart from the 2 months he had out and the January, I thought, where he was pretty bad in that January, I thought throughout the season he was good. So this dip in form, okay, you could accept it, but it's how he gets out of it. How do we get him out of it? Do you play him through it? Or do you think maybe bringing in a Cavani who can take a little bit of the pressure off, allow him to get his confidence back before pushing him?
I think it's kind of, I think me and you have both gone for this, but I think that it's kind of a mix of both. I think that maybe playing him alongside Cavani, maybe putting him to the left. I think Rashford looked injured at the weekend. Rashford didn't look sharp. He looked... I don't think Rashford's been fit for a while, and I think that you could take him out of the team, put Martial on the left where I think he is comfortable as well. And then try Cavani. I'm surprised we've not played Cavani more. I think that he needs to get more minutes, especially he's gone to Uruguay and started both of their games in this international break. You could kind of have the argument that he's just not fit and can only do 20 minutes, but when he goes away and does an hour, 70 minutes, 90 minutes for Uruguay, I think maybe you should be starting more games. And I think that you can give Rashford a bit of a break, maybe put him on the bench, especially for this midweek game, and kind of start them both and almost allow Martial to be out the firing line a bit on the left wing, but also give him the chance to maybe break that goal duct and get going.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Cavani starts out wide in that front three, because we know there's a tendency to... Because there may also be a thing where Ollie doesn't want to pull Martial out of the 9 position to the left.
Yep.
And you start him there and well, look, Cavani's going to... Because I thought when Cavani came on, it did bring it brought a little bit more space around Anthony Martial then, because he didn't have both centre halves occupied by him. So look, I think he'll get back to goals. I'm not too worried, but we also have to be aware that, you know, we've got a striker there. And when you've got someone of the quality of Cavani, I think you have to use him. That's why he's there. So, yeah, looking forward to the game. And I do think we'll see Martial goal and his continued good form. Oli continued his quote on him, and he said Anthony took bigger strides. Sorry, he said Anthony will take bigger strides and develop more. He scored 23-24 last season, which is a big return. There's demands in any position, so we want him to kick on. For me, it's him getting the chances. He's always been good. Maybe the keepers have made some good saves. And for club and country, we have seen that. It's been a bit of bad luck, bit of good keeping, bit of poor finishing at times. And, you know, that happens to strikers. I think it's because we live in a world where we react into everything. You can get overreactive. You know I mean? Twitter has a memory span of 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I think that, you know, the fact that in world football we've had prolific strikers more than ever. You know, when you've had players scoring 50, 60 goals and 40, 50 goals in a season, I think that puts more pressure on. And kind of over, you know, both Marcus and Martial scored 23 goals last season. That's a really good return from those strikers, especially in a team that finished 3rd in the Premier League.
And both of them spent large chunks of that
and
season injured.
But everyone goes, well, it's not 40 goals like Salah did, or it's not like Ronaldo did. And I think that's getting overlooked. And 20 goals is a very good return for any striker in the Premier League, and especially with Mason. And like I said, in a team that didn't score a ridiculous amount of goals last season, to score that many goals was very good. And yeah, I think we need to just...
I find it bizarre when, obviously we'll move on because I want to talk about Dean Henderson as well. But I find it bizarre when people talk about Rashford and Rooney as if they are 30 years old. Like, that's not to say we can't expect them to step up, because it's the time now to step up. This is the time. But people say, oh, I've had enough of this for 5 years, inconsistency. And it's like, they are young
22.
players. And it's like, when we've had other young players coming through, they've had the luxury of, if Rooney ain't scoring, and so I've seen someone in the comments say, how can you say Rooney and Martial in the same team? Like, listen to what we're saying before you start responding in the comment. But when Rooney weren't scoring, Zaha or Van Nistelrooy were. Like, they could almost have those quiet times because other people were scoring. Martial has to come to the realization that I'm being relied on for goals. And therefore I must...
I think there's some stuff about Rooney where there was a clip of him a couple of years ago. I think he did something with Gary Neville, and he said that I didn't start scoring goals until Fergie said, you need to score goals. Don't worry about the rest of it. Don't start doing them daft runs tracking back. Just stay in between the box. Stay in the box and just finish chances. And you don't think... People forget that Rooney didn't really start scoring 20 goals plus until Ronaldo left. That was when he kind of kicked on and became, would you say, prolific
Rooney was
striker.
special, though. He offered so much more.
He did do a lot more, but he was never a prolific striker until Ronaldo left. He was always 15 goals a season kind of player. He did a lot more. He assisted a lot more.
My main point
but the whole point is there's other players to do it. There was always Van Nistelrooy when he first came in. Van Nistelrooy was doing the 25 goals. Then Ronaldo kind of stepped things up. Oli was there still scoring 20 goals a season. Whereas now we've got young players who haven't got consistent goal scorers around, who are young. That's the other thing, is we've got a young team. You know, we've got a very young team now.
Andy Cole, when Dwight York was signed, was 4th choice. And then we had that game against Southampton where they hit it off and it was like, fucking hell, these are first choice now. But we haven't got that at the moment. No. But whilst we have got a Cavani and we've got a number 9 who isn't in form,
we need to try him.
We should be using him. Moving on to Dean Henderson. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer also spoke about Dean Henderson. And he said, Dean wants to stay at Man United and play for Man United. I can't see logic in only one more appearance before Christmas. Do you know how many games we have? He's training well. He has potential to be one of the best. I don't buy the argument it is make or break from him tomorrow. A lot of people were saying that Dean Henderson, a lot of reports that Dean Henderson would be possibly leaving on loan in January. It looks like he's going to be starting for United against Istanbul. Happy with that?
Definitely, yeah. I think there is something about this, because I think he needs to be selfish as Dean Henderson, because I think he is the best English keeper right now. I think that he's a lot better than Pickford. I think Pope's the only real argument to him. I think he is the best English keeper. And if he doesn't get game time, he probably won't be starting in the Euros, which I think would be very harsh on him, considering I think if he was at Sheffield United, there'd be no question about that. But I think that we've got him here now. I still think Ollie sees him pushing De Gea. Maybe not this season, but I think next season.
Maybe he already is.
Maybe he is.
You could argue he is.
He already is. If he's keeping him out of teams in the Champions League, if it's a point where you can go, do you know what, we can rest De Gea, or we're going to give you a chance. The problem is with keepers is that if you have a good game, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to start the next one. But if you have a bad game, that could keep you out for a while, kind of thing. If he makes a mistake, there's a problem. But look, Dean Henderson, I think, will be the number one in the next couple of years for Man United. I worry if you send him on loan, because if anything happens to De Gea, you've then got Romero stepping in, who's been properly fobbed off this season. And I think that now that he's made that decision, I think you have to keep Henderson around. It's going to be interesting to see how he manages him. It's going to be interesting to see what games he actually plays, whether he gets some starts in the Premier League. That'll be interesting to see. But I want to see Henderson play more football.
Yeah, and I think he will get games. And the point I was making about, I think he already has had an impact in that. De Gea's been good this season.
Very good. I mean, the saves he made this weekend, I think we overlooked it maybe a little bit of the weekend. He made a couple of very good saves that, last season when he was making mistakes, that game's easily 1-1, and we've dropped points against a poor West Brom, whereas we didn't play great, we got the penalty, but De Gea making a couple of world-class saves gets us the 3 points.
Right, there's someone asking for some attention in the comments, so I'm going to give them the attention that they're begging for right now. Zach, you are talking bollocks, brother. Absolute bollocks. Go wash your mouth out and stop talking shit. Man's saying Rashford has been in the first team for 5 seasons and has not improved one bit. Is it crack that you smoke? He had his best season last season. What football have you been watching? It's people like you that would have been saying at the time, Ronaldo's a one-trick pony. It's people like you that would have been saying, Rooney needs to be more... bruv, I don't get it. Rashford is doing fine. Rashford's development is going fine. Bro, you have Arsenal fans sometimes coming out and comparing their players to... And it's like, when your players were this age, what were they doing? Yeah, nothing. And when you compare what even people will bring up next man in there, different players, what they were doing at this age, Rashford's ahead of a lot of legends at that age.
A lot of players.
So just stop talking shit, bro. Get out.
Rashford's been playing. I mean, he's not had the greatest start to the season, but I mean, last season, for him to step up, at the start of last season when we went, we're only going to have Rashford and Martial and maybe Mason Greenwood. We don't know how many games he's going to play. For all of them to score 60 goals between them is a quality turnout from those 3 players. Rashford's has progressed. If you don't think that, you're not watching football. You're just not watching him play. He is progressing. I think he's adding more to his game.
Chat shit for the fun of it. That's the point.
He's adding more and more to his game. Some of the passes that he played at the weekend, unbelievable. He wasn't doing that 2 seasons ago. He wasn't dropping in and playing through balls like he is now. He's definitely progressing.
These are the mans that just talk shit. And then when they come good, they're like, always supported them. Always. If he saw Marcus Rashford on road, he'd be chasing him down. Oh, Marcus, can I have a picture, please? Kiss my ass, you know. Anyway, moving on. You got your team ready, Al?
I certainly do. This is my starting 11 for tomorrow. I can't see it, but so my goalkeeper, I've got Dean Henderson in goal. My back 4, I've gone for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He was alongside Ollie in the press conference, so I think he'll keep his place. I've got Harry Maguire, and I think Tuanzebe is going to start over Lindelof because Lindelof had the bad back against in international duty. I think it's a good time maybe to take him out of the team, and I think Axel needs to maybe make up a little bit for the last game at Istanbul. Left back wise, I don't think Brandon Williams is going to get into the team. I think Tellez will keep his spot. I think he needs minutes for United. So that's my back 4. Midfield, McTominay didn't start the weekend. I put him straight in there. I think that's a given. Paul Pogba, he said that he's back training. I fancy him to start, but wouldn't be surprised to see if he didn't. But I'd like Paul Pogba to start. Then my 3 behind the striker. This could be a diamond as well, depending on... how it is. You've got Martial
and Cavani.
So you've got Martial, Bruno, Van der Beek and Cavani. If Pogba for some reason isn't fit enough, you could see Van der Beek dropping in there and maybe someone like Dan James starting. But I think Pogba needs to get some minutes under his belt, and because I think he played okay for France. I think that him coming back now, I think I'd like to see him play a bit more. And yeah, that's me. I think Martial, like we mentioned before, I think either moving out to the left or putting someone alongside him like Cavani takes a little bit of pressure off. But I think he needs to be in the team still, because I think I want him to get them goals instead of him being taken out of the team completely.
It's a good team, that. A lot of people were asking for Van der Beek to be in Matthijs' place against West Brom as well, and that's what you've done.
Yeah. Hopefully. I don't see Matt's not going to play 2 games in a week, and I'm not too sure about Dan James starting in there. I don't really like him on the right hand side. I think he does better on the left, but I think, like I said, Martial needs to start this game again.
Well, have a guess what? I've started Van der Beek, McTominay, and
Danny James.
Got a feeling he'll come into the team. So I've got Dean Henderson in goal, which has been pretty much confirmed by Ollie. Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, Telles. Your point about Lindelof's back injury, as you said that, it kind of made me think if we're going to give him a rest, now is probably a good time. But I think with the last performance against Istanbul, with the need for 3 points, he's going to go try and test it, I think. McTominay, Van der Beek in the midfield. I think it's probably come too soon for Pogba with his, just coming back to training. Daniel James, Bruno Fernandes, Anthony Martial, and Edinson Cavani. Reason being, I believe Rashford, who's constantly played through injury, he's currently got a knock. We keep playing him. Stop that. Do you know what I mean? Just stop
I agree.
that.
I agree. Give him a break.
Martial can play there if required. Even if you want to continue and play Martial through the middle, you can put Dan James on the left, put Van der Beek or Cavani. You can change it around accordingly. But in my opinion, Rashford needs to be on the bench, not as a punishment, not as anything like that. Even give him the night off.
I think I agree. Keep him out of the team. Let him rest. Let him try and get back to fitness, because we need him for bigger games coming up.
Yeah. So let us know your thoughts on the teams in the comments below, and get your comments in below with your predicted 11s as well. Now, Istanbul caused us a fair few problems at their ground. Demba Ba rolling back the years and all that stuff. What did you make of the performance of Istanbul in the last game, and are you fearful of them maybe repeating that, or was that because United was so bad? How can we not forget Raphael as well?
Raphael, yeah. I think it was more individual mistakes, and I think they defended well as a unit in the end. I think that more individual mistakes from United. I think Ollie mentioned that in his press conference. We need to be better. We need to be a little bit compact. We need to be a little bit more switched on throughout. And I'm hoping at home that we do that. The 2 goals that Istanbul scored were so bad defensively. You can't even say that it was good football from them. It was almost like, Demba Ba having a complete free run with no one else in the same half as him was ridiculous. So I'm not too worried about Istanbul now. But, we have to be more switched on than we were in the first game.
Therefore, we've got a super chat as well. Glenn B says, hope you're both well. We are. Thank you very much. How important is this game for Ollie and also the team gaining momentum, confidence going forward?
I think it's big in terms of the Champions League in that if you get this win, it gets us to 9 points, and it means that realistically you need a point out of the RB Leipzig and PSG games. If we don't win this game, if you only take a point from it, it means that we have to get a win either away to Leipzig or at home to PSG, which you don't want to be doing. We want to be able to rotate a little bit in this Champions League group. I think that whilst the squad is better this year, I still think we're a few players short in terms of being able to compete on 3 or 4 fronts. So I think that being able to rotate and maybe rest a couple of players for games, get this win, get to 9 points. To get a point out of the last 2 games, we may not even need that because they're playing each other. I think we need to just get this win, get it done. And like you said, keep a bit of momentum, because whilst performance wasn't good on Sunday, it's the first time we've gone back-to-back wins. It'd be great to get 3 wins in a row for Manchester United this season.
It would. And the one downside to this, with us not being at grounds, we don't get to welcome back Rafael da Silva.
I know, yeah. I know.
Shall we go stand outside Old Trafford?
With a sign?
Wait for his bus to come past?
I think so. We could do that. Get a sign for him.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Rafa.
We can do that. Yeah. Thank you very much to everyone for tuning in. Keep your comments coming in. Zach, love you as well, dickhead. Keep your thoughts coming in the comments below. Get your predictions in, your thoughts, predicted 11s, all that good stuff. Have you got a score prediction for us, Alex, please?
Going to go 3-0 United. Confident ahead of this one.
I'm going to go... I was going to go 3. I'll go 4-0 United. Martial's going to score.
2.
But you know what's annoying? He's already scored in the Champions League. We needed a goal in the Premier League.
I know, yeah. We need him in the Premier League.
So, like, even if he scores today, it's like going into the Southampton game, it's still like,
He still
he
not
hasn't
scored.
scored in the Premier League yet.
He'll get the goal. He'll score this week and then score at the weekend.
Yeah. So there's a score predictions. McNally thinks we're mad for going 4-0 and 3-0.
What do you mean?
Maybe we are mad, but who cares?
We're
Ming
class.
has gone 3-1. Just another football fan says, if we beat Istanbul and Leipzig, beat PSG, all we need is a point in the last 2 or 2. Huh?
If we beat Istanbul and Leipzig beat PSG, all we need is a point in the last 2 games.
Thank you very much for making sense of that. Umcard doesn't want me to go on the kickoff ever again, apparently. Interesting. Sean says 2-0. Ravi says, where is Legend Housen? Housen, is that you commenting under an alias? Legend.
He's around. He'll be back very
Legend.
shortly in an hour and a half or so.
Legend.
It's a bit much, that, isn't it? Little
Leg
bit too much.
end, more like.
But if you do want to see Housen in about an hour and a half, you can join us back here. Housen's Brew.
Interesting. Sean says Sean is pronounced like Keen.
Keen. I wouldn't have known that.
See, I was trying to be clever and get the
There's
pronunciation
a few Keens.
right.
There's loads of Keens there.
Kian.
Kian.
Nice name. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, please. Follow Bagley on his socials. What's your socials, Al?
Baggers_Alex on most things.
There you go. Get on that. Make sure you say hello to him on there. And for now, I've been Adam McCullough. He's been Alex. We're out of here.